Hello everybody in the chess world. So I'm continuing my videos on beat the London system with the modern, and well, I'll leave you the links on the description for my first video, but there basically I show you how you shouldn't be worried about the London system, this typical weapon of nowadays, if you play the modern or the Pirc defense. So basically what I show you was this. In here, after 97, we're going to guarantee to play our central pawn break and at the same time winning a tempo against the London bishop. So basically, let us say bishop on e25. And yes, of course, this is not the panacea, but I think it's quite satisfactory. The computer agrees. General theory agrees that, modern is maybe a disencouragement for the London system. But the thing is, I have a friend, a colleague that has basically the same chess strength and elo as myself, and he does play the London. So we played positions like this quite often. So at some point, well, he told me that, yeah, you're right. Your modern is kind of giving me a lot of troubles finding something. So we were talking on the phone about that, and we left it there. So he was like, okay, I gotta find something against your modern. So instead of waiting on him to do that, I actually searched what to do with white against the modern if you're playing the London. So I found out, using theory and the internet, some videos and stuff, that, well, a very trendy thing to do is white. A lot of the white London players a lot of times know about this. So what do they do here? Well, in this position, instead of continuing with knight on f3, they transpose into Pirc defense. This is something really trendy. It's recommended for most London players. If black plays more on defense, don't let him play, d6, knight d7, and if I win in a tempo, just transpose into Pirc. So I told my friend about this, and this is the funny thing. I call him there. I told him, you can play this. You can always transpose into Pirc. Again, this is not the panacea for white, but the first interesting thing, and now I'm going to show you a survey of what to do with black in this position, which was what I had to do for myself. But the first interesting thing about this is, one of the reasons why white players love to do this, after London transpose into Pirc, is that, Pirc players almost never face a setup with bishop on f4. This is the thing. If we think about the normal, Pirc, let us say, position like this. Well, what are the most famous and most used setups for white? Well, let us say the classical, like this, no bishop on f4 involved. So nothing like that. The Austrian attack, like this. Again, well, definitely not a bishop on f4 now, as the square is occupied by the pawn. Even the Samish, which, well, then is going to be continued with either bishop on e3 or bishop on g5. And in general, in the Pirc defense, we will see this dark square bishop, again, either on e3 or on g5. So another plus for the white players is that, it's like, well, black is going to be pretty much out of theory. And at the same time, it's some sort of nuance because, well, white can always continue with the plan of playing queen on d2. And then in a lot of lines, we will see transpositions where maybe we're going to transpose into lines where this bishop actually came down here, but after queen on d2, let us say I develop like this, well, they're going to play bishop on h6. So it won't matter if they come from f4 or from g5. So a lot of good things for white. So this is why I wanted to do also this survey, sort of actualization of what to do with the black pieces. So it took me some time to find the best setup, at least for me, and it's a curious one because it involves, in almost every line, putting this b8 knight on c6, which is not something that I use often in the Pirc or the modern defenses. It depends on what white does, but again, it's not the most normal square for the knight. So I'm going to, first of all, recommend to keep going, with the normal Pirc play. So d6. And e4, as I said, white is just transposing into a Pirc. So with the bishop on f4. Once again, nothing, too secret, just knight on f6, the normal Pirc move. So now I am going to recommend knight f3, and knight f3 is the main move. Queen d2 is probably one of the moves that you'll see more often, maybe playing blitz on the internet. This is not a big problem. I'm going to recommend knight on c6 here. And, well, I'm not going to go deep into this line because, let us say, if white plays the most normal long castles, we can play short castles. And now there are options, but a move like knight on f3 will transpose into what I'm going to show, just that with a different order. That is why, in this position, I mean, of course, the thing is after knight on f3, I will recommend castles. Queen d2 is the most normal move, knight on c6, and now there are options, but yeah, white can, long castles is the main move. This is the way we're going to transpose. So, still, going back to this position, I do want to show you h4. This is, as I mentioned in other videos. h4 is always a move to consider and a move that a lot of white players like. They actually probably are intending to continue with, yeah, queen d2 on long castles anyway, just showing the possibility of an early attack with an h4. In this case, h5 is not threatened. In this case, yeah, I mean, we can always take it and we're even hidden on the bishop. Of course, white can always then sacrifice the exchange, but it's a little early for that. That's why, again, I'm going to recommend this knight on c6 move. I think this is a key in all of this line, you know, playing this London, you know, against the Pirc. But bishop on e2 is going to be the move that you see more often because now h5 is a threat. And again, we'll see, I mean, basically the same idea as I show, you know, in almost every line against the London when we're playing like this. What we want is an e5 that either wins a tempo over the bishop or creates some sort of consequence. And in here, the thing is, after pawn takes, yeah, of course, if we take it with the pawn, they can exchange queens. It's not so bad, but in this case, I will actually recommend to take it with the knight. And, I mean, after knight on f3, which is the most natural move, just queen on e7. And this position is unclear. It's definitely playable for both sides. But I think lines like this show that h4 is, well, not something to be too afraid of, right? So let us go back and let us go into this main line that I show you. No matter what order, let us say knight f3 castles, queen d2, knight c6. So there's a detail here because the main line that I want to show you is long castles. This is the most human move, the most natural, the one that you'll see more often, I guess, in here. But there's a very nice detail. And again, this is the advantages of having a chess engine to help us. If d5, which is it's a pretty attractive move, again, knight b8 with idea of then rerouting that knight into d7 is fine, but knight on e5 is a move that I really like and that uses the typical tactics of the King's Indian. So now, if white decided to take twice on e5, no matter with which piece first, we're gonna end up playing knight takes on e4 in the end. So let us say, you know, I mean, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes. We have knight takes on e4, always this thing, we're opening up this thread. And the same thing, you know, the other way around, like let us say knight takes. I mean, pawn takes, and knight takes. Remember, we're hitting the queen, so it's the same thing. You know, it's still useful to have this. So this is not a problem for us. This is still playable for white, only that in this case, I wouldn't recommend to take on e5, bishop on e2. Is a logical move. Here, I think we should just discharge on f3. And after bishop on f3, g takes f3 is possible. Against both moves, we're going to play c6 and undermine the center before developing this light square bishop. So in here, for example, long castles, let us just take it and bishop on f5. It's an unclear position. Well, our pawn chain is much better. We have the c file to attack the king with the bishop pressuring on c2. I really like black here. Going back, of course, bishop takes on f3 will be more natural, but still we can play c6. And with the same idea, after long castles, let us take here. Bishop on f5 is still a good move. Here, bishop on g4 maybe is even better. It's a simpler move. Basically, initially what we want is development, and then, yeah, using the c file to attack the long castles by white. So, going back, let us go back and see, yeah, long castles is the most natural move. Bishop on g4, I think this spin, it's also good. And again, I'm always recommending like easy play for black. I'm trying not to get into the stuff that is too hard. After bishop on e2, once again, the idea that we have also in the normal London, in every time white has this bishop on f4. Let us try to win a tempo with e5. So blow up this knight, and now e5. And yeah, once again, we get what we wanted. The central pawn break with the winning of a tempo. So after pawn takes, and bishop on e3, I like queen e7 here because of a particular computer analysis. Rook he1, I mean, yeah, of course, white could also play, I don't know, h4. This is definitely a move. But what I wanted to show you is this nice knight on d4. This is a nice computer pawn sacrifice. Considering what I'm going to show you, another alternative to either rook he1 or h4 that I will recommend for white is the typical prophylaxis king on b1. Maybe this is the best move. Because look at this. This is a detail that I wanted to show you. I mean, yeah, white takes twice and calls the black's bluff, if you will. And now we're going to play knight on g4. And this is the thing that our main idea here, and this is why before I told you that maybe king on b1 is the best move. Besides hitting this queen, our main idea is, yeah, to take advantage of the fact that white did not play the prophylaxis king on b1. So we're going to have this check on g5 by the queen. And you'll see that now, well, there are three main moves for white. All of them answered by queen on g5 check. So it's quite interesting. So let us start with, well, here I'm going to ask you to pause the video and think, actually. And think what to play with white. Okay, so there are no correct or incorrect answers, but it was interesting for you to try to analyze what will white do, what white will do here. So queen d7, I'm going to consider queen d7 as the main line, but yeah, I said that there were three possible, main moves for white here, and well, they are playable. e5 is a move, might look risky, but we're again going to start with this check on g5, and after king on b1, yeah, we can take the pawn. But there is bishop takes on b7 here, so it's important to know what to do in this line. So the first move, aggressive for us, maybe obvious, knight on g4, we're again hitting the queen, putting some pressure on f2, and queen d5. I think that there was a game in the database with this position. So after queen takes queen, and bishop takes, I really like this because, yes, our rook is under attack, definitely still. But we can play this intermediate move as we're hitting on as the d1 rook as well. And initially you might look at this and say, but what are you talking about? Rook on d2? And I mean, yeah, knight hanging, rook hanging. Yes, but we have this really nice move, rook ab8 exclam, and now we're threatening to, well, I mean, we're saving the rook, and we're threatening to, yeah, win the knight with devastating effect. So I think in this game on the database, knight a4 was played, and after knight g4 we have a unclear position. I think computer preferred bishop on b3 with the same continuation, knight on g4, and roughly the same evaluation, an unclear position. So in this position, definitely e5 is an option for white, but well, we get an interesting position with black. Another move will be knight on d5, and this is quite attractive. Thank God, in this case, we have queen on g5 check, which was our main idea, as, yeah, our queen is under attack. We don't want to lose the tempo. Also, the c7 pawn. And, well, of course, we're hitting the queen as well, so no king b1 here. Queen d2 is the first answer. And queen e5. I like this maneuver, just threatening the checkmate on b2. And there is also the idea of bishop on h6. So look at this. We're kind of forcing c3. We do play bishop on h6, so now forcing the only move, knight on e3. And now even knight takes on h2, which might look like a bad move because, yeah, soon rook on h1 is going to come. But hey, we're threatening the bishop. We just won a pawn. And there is no big action over the h-file against our h7 pawn. So let us grab this material. I mean, this position is quite unclear and definitely playable for black. And finally, I guess in this position, queen d7, I will consider it the main line. As well, once again, queen g5 comes. King b1, although in this case is playable, well, I think we could even give up the good bishop, because yeah, we're gonna leave the shield over white's king is, yeah, quite awful. Knight takes on h2 is an option here. I actually will recommend knight on e5. I prefer this move. And well, I mean, white has to be careful, because yeah, if they go crazy grabbing all of these pawns, well, they'll be, opening up lines for us to attack white's king. So I think that going back, I really like this thing about going back and forth with an opening, First, like finding this, as I showed you in the previous video, like this sort of solution against the London system, but then finding out that the transposition into Pirc is really interesting. However, really, all of these lines with the inclusion of the knight on c6 and this main idea of going with e5, really, really, really interesting. And yeah, as usual, I'm showing my prep, but yeah, this is basically what I will play with black, and what I did play in, well, some internet games. Unfortunately, with this pandemic, and this has been sometimes since I've played real over-the-board games, but yeah, good results also on the internet. So I hope you like this video, and well, remember always to like, share, comment, and subscribe so you can help me with the channel, and I will see you the next time. Thanks a lot.